Let's talk about books, baby, where we talk with your favorite LGBTQ authors. This is Anita Kelly, and my guest today is Chuck Tingle. Hi, Chuck.
Hello. Oh, Dave, thank you for having me. It's such a treat to be here. I really can't wait. And just very sincerely, thank you for having this show dedicated to this community. And there's just so many moving parts that make communities work. And I just want to say thank you. That it is such a honor, I guess, to be a part of a conversation like this. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for being part of it. I really
Yes.
appreciate it, and it's so nice to meet you. Really excited to have you on the show.
Yes.
So Chuck, let's talk about, you have a book that's coming out very soon, right? Like maybe in July?
Yes, July 18th. I really dang hope that is correct, because otherwise I'm going to listen later and kick myself and think, dang, how do you not know release date? I'm going to say July 18th, final answer,
Okay.
for Camp Damascus, which is first horror novel. I did a horror novella called Straight, but this is my first full-length horror novel, and also first traditional publication with a large publisher. So it has been a journey.
Wow, that's great. That's really
Yes.
great. This is a whole new experience for you then.
Oh yes, the jump from self-publishing to traditional publishing. What a dang leap! Quite the experience. But it has been fun so far. Mostly, I will say, because Nightfire, who are putting this book out, I guess I just got really lucky with the buckaroos I'm working with, because we just get along very, very well. I don't know in publishing industry how common that is, but for me, I get along very well with my publisher so far.
That's wonderful. That's great. That's always a really big help, right? It's, publishing can be daunting, especially when you're self-publishing, as you have done. And
Yes.
just to have that relationship with someone where, they help you carry that load is really, it's vital, I think.
Yes. Yeah, and the trust that you have to have. Speaking of what you said, and with any kind of art, whether you're self-publishing a book, self-releasing music, selling your paintings, you do this for long enough, and you kind of learn what works. You really get in tune with yourself artistically, and then the big hurdle is thinking, well, what if this big slow machine that is industry in general doesn't understand what it is that makes my way tick? And like I said, I guess I just lucked out, because they really understand what makes me work, and what I enjoy to do, and let me be free. All of the notes that they have had are things I completely have agreed with. There has not been any battles creatively. So they just kind of let me do what the heck I want, and also let me self-publish my romance and erotica while I'm doing traditionally published horror. So really, it's just a very, I feel very blessed.
Nice. Cool. So before we get into Camp Damascus, what made you switch from self-publishing into, having working with a publishing house?
Oh, I mean, kind of a lot of things. I think that as far as self-publishing goes, I have reached a point of success where I don't know how much better or bigger I could get. I release books that go viral all the dang time, and then there's just a point to where I just think, okay, well, I've really in a lot of ways mastered this journey, this self-publishing journey. What else is out there? I think word for this. There's a word I've heard in psychology or therapy or different ways called epicure. someone who wants to taste all kinds of different things in life. When something trots their way, they say, "Yes, I'm excited to try this and to find a new exciting thing." So there is definitely an element of that where I just think, "Wow, a whole new world for me to explore what that means." And then I think next thing also, I think that what I write about, while it may seem kind of silly to some, I do it with complete sincerity, and in that way, I have a message that I want to send. I have a message of joy and of queer joy that I want to send, and in this book also neurodivergent joy, and to fight for those communities. And so that just also makes me think, well, as big as I can make this, and as far as I can make my reach, that just makes me happy, because I do think that a lot of my work has an important message in that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're an adventurer.
Yeah, I try to be, and it can be scary, as we all know. You never know what's coming on this timeline, but you gotta get out there. What else are we gonna do? We gotta fight for the things we believe in.
True, very true. So all right, Chuck, tell us about Camp Damascus. It is a horror novel.
It is.
And when you say it's traditional, what makes it traditional?
Well, I just meant traditionally published. I would actually, if we're talking about that way, traditionally in the sense of traditionally published, but probably pretty unconventional as far as I guess the subgenre goes. Something that I like to do with horror, and I guess in general, is take a subgenre, because I just very much enjoy playing around with genre and tropes in general, and to turn them on their heads. So I would say that Camp Damascus takes the demonic possession genre and is a twist on it, a new way of looking at it through an LGBTQ lens. And I think some of the things that I see in that genre, that when I'm watching a film or reading a book, and I think, I don't know about that, I get to address in that way. And that just seems like I said, a theme that I like. A previous horror novella as well, Straight, was a twist on zombie genre. And this is twist on the exorcism genre, I think.
Ah, okay. That
is.
I was just talking about that book, The Exorcist.
Oh, yes. Dang, what a coincidence. Well, I guess maybe I'm thinking about more with Camp Damascus, but I feel like most don't realize that it was originally a book. The movie just overshadows it so much.
Yeah, true. That's very true. You're right. I read that book. I was young, like super young, and shouldn't have been reading it.
Oh, dang. Yeah, well, I think that's the way that horror goes. I remember being very young, buckaroo, finding Stephen King books that were probably, I guess, writing-wise and certainly length-wise beyond my capacity. But there's something about horror that I think maybe there's that fascination. You think, oh, maybe this is too adult. Maybe I shouldn't be reading this. And it really makes a young buckaroo get through lots of pages when you think about how long some of those books are. I don't know about Exorcist, but I think there's something to discovering a horror novel, a big, thick horror novel, and kind of expanding your reading capacity in that way.
Yeah, it's like, what do they say about train wrecks? You can't look away, right?
Yes. There's something you just think, oh, what's something around this corner is going to push a little past my sensibilities of what is scary, and it's interesting. It's also, when you think about book versus movie, like we're talking on The Exorcist, there is such a fascinating, especially in horror, what you can show or see, or violence or scary things, changes so much because it is all in your imagination. So that there is a certain level too when you're reading horror where, depending on if you are personally frightened by the subject, I think that your brain can either elevate or lower it according to kind of what you need at that point, and that's kind of nice. It's one of those things that no matter how much technology we invent, if you say, well, you have books thousands of years ago, and then you invent films later on, probably gonna have then VR experiences in a few years, and you just think, which one is the one that really touches you and you participate in it with your imagination? It's still going to be books, which I think is just so exciting and fascinating.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. So, is Camp Damascus a standalone novel, or will this be a series?
It is so with my erotica writing, I have been over 300 erotica and romance shorts, which is mostly what I am known for, and they all interweave in something called the Tingle verse, which is multiple timelines, characters crossing over. The horror books are in a different stack of timelines, I suppose, but they all will cross over in various ways. Maybe a company will be mentioned in one, and then later on you will see this company shows up in a different one, or a location, or a small character. But the stories are separate. Just kind of existing in this crossing over world. But I will say, in this world that crosses over, maybe I'll write on book number 10, I can combine them all into something kind of interesting. But yes, and there are hints in Camp Damascus, even though there is not a sequel, of other things that I think, if my plans go as planned, years from now could even pay off in that way. And I have a second book, part of my contract with Tor Nightfire, called Bury Your Gaze, which comes out next year. And there are references in Camp Damascus to certain things in that story that no one knows yet. And then I think next year when they read Bury Your Gaze, they'll think, oh, wow, that was mentioned in Camp Damascus. So I like to build them, weaving together worlds like that are not necessarily sequels, but interconnected.
Gotcha. That's great. Yeah, I actually love when authors do that. You'll be reading, you'll be like, hey, they introduced that character 2 books ago. I remember.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Little hidden treats. Yes.
Yeah, that's fun. That is fun. So, how did you get started in this whole writing world?
Just writing in general. I have always enjoyed making things, specifically making things for others to experience. I think that we all prove love in our own way. We all create and put things into the world. I think a lot of buckaroos don't see themselves as creative. They think, well, I'm just going on walks, making my kids thing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and they don't realize that is an act of creation that is very important. We are all creating in our own way. And I just, my way of creating was just building and making experiences. And part of that was I just kind of started writing these erotica shorts. I had ideas about what I wanted to say and what the boundaries of art were, what it would be like if I wrote all these dang stories with a singular message and idea. And then eventually some friends and family of Chuck said, oh, these are very interesting. Try selling those on self-publishing Amazon way. And then I started to do that, and it kind of took off from there. I guess that was probably 7 or 8 years ago now was when I published my first one, and kind of just the ball started rolling, and it started to resonate with Marguerite. I think really because while my ideas seem very normal to me, they do seem kind of others find them to be outrageous and unusual. And so I think part of the charm is that they will fuck out my writing because they think, oh, this is going to be outrageous or so bad it's good or all these other phrases. And then they read it and they think, oh, well, I guess that's actually just good. It's good. And hopefully it can open some minds to ideas of surrealism or just kind of celebrations of different unique ways.
Wow, that's really amazing. Like you really sound like, before we said you were adventurous, it sounds like you're really open to a lot of experiences and opportunities for writing and stories and storylines and
yes. Well, what else is there? I mean, we're here on this timeline. We've got our limited time, and just getting out there and creating things, and putting ourselves out into the world is, it's a blessing that we have this opportunity to try that. So I just try to take advantage of my time here as much as I can.
It's a great attitude. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, Chuck, what are some of your favorite genres in which to write? Like, you mentioned that you did wrote a zombie novel,
yes,
and a horror novel. So, and do you write romance and erotica and what else?
Well, I think I have something. I guess you could call the trinity of maligned genres. Is I guess the genres that I think kind of more snooty buckaroos might look down their noses at and say, "Oh, I don't know about that." And to me, that is romance, or you could say erotica and romance, horror and comedy. These are the ones that, for better or well, I guess I'm going to say always for worse. I guess say for better or worse. I don't. I just think that they are always looked down on and seen as not serious. And that is my favorite place because I think that the reason they are seen as not serious is that there's a sort of highbrow intellectualism, subconscious or not, that says those genres elicit functions of the body, not of the mind. A comedy, it is a laugh. Erotica, romance, it is arousal. And horror, it is fear and a scream. So I think that a long time ago, someone, or just culture in general said, well, we're only going to give awards and serious things to things of the mind. They're not climbing around in the muck, trying to make you aroused or to laugh or to scream, because those are of the body. But I have always kind of wanted to tell class divides to heck off. I don't like highbrow, lowbrow. I like to combine them all, and I also like to play in the realm of the body that I was saying, and to hide intellectualism in these genres where they have traditionally been pushed away to say, oh, there's nothing of value there. So really, that is where I like to play, is in erotica, horror, and in some ways comedy. Although, like I said, while buckaroos think a lot of the things that I do is pretty dang funny, I'm generally not trying to be funny. I just have a pretty unique way, but still, I know how to lean into it if I need to. But really, those three, I think, are where I enjoy playing around the most.
Okay, and I checked out your website, Chuck, and listeners,
yes,
you can totally check it out. It's just Google Chuck Tingle and his website comes up, and it's really eclectic, I would say.
Yes.
And there's like a whole lot of variety on the website, and I'm wondering, is this indicative of you as a person and of your writing as well, like just being so eclectic?
Maybe. Well, interestingly, to me, in my eyes, it is very organized and specific and logical. But I think that my sensibilities are just maybe pretty unique and, like I said, outrageous. So to me, it doesn't seem it seems very organized. But that is, I think, what buds resonate with is they see this and they think, wow, this is a wild, colorful splatter of things. And the more time you spend in the Tingleverse, the more that the order starts to reveal itself. Maybe over years. I guess, I actually just did a post about this a long time ago. Some bud said, "Oh, Chuck is just trying to be funny by being way of random," and I thought, wow, that's an interesting thing because I think those who have stuck around long enough have started to see, this is not necessarily random; it is very complex, and there's a lot to unravel. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I am maybe not an eclectic buckaroo, but I definitely know my interests, and I'm okay with shouting it from the rooftop and following that. I am also I'm on the autism spectrum, and I think that is also maybe part of that. There's a special interest, an obsession with certain things and certain ideas, and as I have said. If there has ever been a way of hyper focus, which is another part of my way on the spectrum, it is in writing 300 erotica shorts all in the same world, putting them out about once a week for several years. So yes, it's just it is a unique path, and I definitely think you are right about that.
Yeah, that's like unbelievable that you wrote over 300 short stories in that short amount of time.
Yes, about one. I try to release something, whether it is an audiobook or a story, once a week. That is my life schedule, and it's been that way for years. Sometimes I can't if there's other things going on, but that is generally my output goal.
Wow, that's unbelievable. That's a hefty lift.
Yes, yeah. What's so funny about it though is that is my state of being. It is just I think there's a common question that a lot of buds ask of creative people. They say, "Well, are you making art for you, or are you making it for your audience?" And there's a plenty. There's no right or wrong answer here. There's plenty of reasons for both. And what I have found is I think that I have stumbled upon a third answer for myself. I write them, I create because I have to. It is a utilitarian pursuit. It is like breathing or eating. And it's just a function of existing. So it never seems like hard work to write like that, because that would be like saying, "Oh, it's a hard work to keep your lungs pumping." I wake up, I write, I go bed, I wake up again, I write some more. And my thought about it is just that this is just what I do. So my relationship with it is kind of, I think, interesting in that way. And I think some buckaroos might hear that and think, well, that's not as romantic. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, it's just the truth. It is just how I exist, I guess.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just what is, right?
Yes.
So, when I was looking at your website, I saw that you had, I think, not one, but maybe two podcasts going. And
well, I did at a time. Yes, they're not around anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did one with Night Vale, where they had buckaroos reading my stories, and that podcast was very popular. I don't know, they were producing it, so they decided to stop producing it. It wasn't up to Chuck. I'm surprised because it just did really well. I think it'd be fun if they wanted to do more. But and then I have a bud who I named Mackenzie, and she and Chuck did a podcast that was mostly just us talking. And we had a really fun time doing that. We actually went up and took it on the road, did something live shows in different ways, and that was fun. But I think when COVID happened, that kind of lost its steam as well. So I'm no podcasts right now, but that is a fun world to explore as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, what is the name of the one with you and your friend where you took it on the road?
That is my friend Chuck,
My friend
and
Chuck. Okay, maybe is
yes,
that we can still find it on.
they you can. I think you can still find it. We did quite a few episodes, and then the one with the Night Vale did with the Buckers reading my erotica is pounded in the butt by my own podcast, which was it's a common phrasing for some of my erotica, and they produced, I think, 10 to 12 episodes of that. I think that it was, and it was so fun. I don't know. I don't really know why it stopped. I wish it was still trotting around.
All right. Well, awesome. So, at least we know we can find my friend Chuck. So,
Yeah.
listeners, you can check that out. But so Chuck, when you were growing up, did you have like a mentor or someone who encouraged you to, be creative and just let that creative side of you come out?
I'm actually no. I would say, well, you get encouraged from older buckaroos just in general, but then as far as the creativity and the creation of things, I just think that is a natural. That is a natural part of my being. I think that I always knew that my way of interacting with this timeline was unusual, and I think that really. What started to get me excited was art and artists. A lot of influences across all kinds of genres and also mediums. I would say my number one was actually David Byrne of Talking Heads. And because when I was a young buckaroo, I kind of knew my way of thinking was unique. And I saw him on show name of David Letterman. And he was talking in a very specific way, holding his body in a specific way. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting because it reminds me of myself, and I had never really seen it before. And then I learned that he was on the autism spectrum, and that was kind of my first encounter with that. And then he just became such a hero. So that's kind of David Byrne of Talking Heads is Big North Star, Andy Kaufman, Andy Warhol, so there are just different artists, different figures that I found to be fascinating in various different ways. Take one aspect of this, take another aspect of this. What are these buckaroos saying? I would say just exposure to art was really what raised Chuck in that way.
That's great that you were able to see yourself in David Burns, and
Yes.
for young folks, like I think that's what's so great about LGBTQ books is that they see themselves and they say, hey, this person can have this great life. Look at the protagonist in this book. They're
Yes.
happy, they're healthy, they're having fun, and, life is good. And it's, not always how, your life goes, especially during adolescence, so it's great to see
Yes.
yourself and, and other people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a driving force between or about for everything I do. But Camp Damascus is so much of just really, horror is a dark genre. That is the point of it, to take you through these dark places. But ultimately, when I create, I like to create. Like you said, to be a source of queer joy or neurodivergent joy, and to show, there's so much media about tragedy in these communities, and that is, those are important stories. So they really are. But I also think there's room to just trot out and say, Well, there are other versions of this. There is also the queer experience is not one of constant trauma. And, there are moments of joy and happiness. And so I used to feel kind of strange sharing my stories because really I do not have trauma in my past really as a bisexual buckaroo and as an autistic buckaroo. Those two things have done nothing but made my life wonderful. I have not had these terrible experiences, but I've had people that I love and care about and I'm close to who have. And so I think that I recognize the importance of the stories of these people that I love and care about. And then when it's time for me to tell my story, instead of shying away and thinking, oh, this doesn't belong, I have realized exactly what you were saying, which is I can get out there and tell a story of joy and of triumph and catharsis. Mm-hmm. And hopefully young buckaroos will see that as well and then not have to come out, whatever they may be coming out into, and do it in a way of utter terror. Maybe they can think, well, there can be triumph here. So that is, I'm sorry, I tend to ramble, but I just completely agree with everything that you said.
Yeah, and you're not rambling at all. It's, it's great.
Yes.
So, who are some of your favorite authors?
Oh, dang. This is a very interesting one because I don't, this is going to be so surprising. I talked about this a lot. I don't know if it is my spectrum way or whatever. I do not read very much. Everything that I learn about story, everything that I learn about themes and these different ways, I am obsessed with films and screenplays, and I will even read a lot of screenplays. So it's kind of interesting. And what has changed that actually is I got a few years ago, I got an app called Libby and get audiobooks from my library. Oh, so now I just can devour dang audiobooks. So my influences and my favorites are still going to be maybe directors or different films that I draw from that I'm really focused on thinking about at the time. And then everybody else is very recent because I just started taking down audiobooks like dang crazy. And so let's see what are some of the recent ones that I just listened to. Is it T.J. Klune?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Very. I read. I guess listened to an early version of In the Lives of Puppets. I don't think that's out yet.
No.
But wonderful. Just wonderful. I wrote a nice little blurb for that. And then what was it? Looking Glass Sound by Cat Ward. That I got an early version of that. So that's the funny thing. It's like you think about, well, what are your influences? If we're going way back, it's going to be films and movies. Yeah. And then in the last couple of years, it's just all these dang early release books that are asking Chuck for blurbs. And I think, wow, these are just incredible. I really, TJ, my favorite thing about that was that he wrote a romance novel where one of the characters was based on Chuck, was based on me. And I heard through the grapevine about that. And then I just thought that is what an honor, what a cool thing. I think it was one of the earlier self-published ones. I got a copy and I just sent a nice letter saying thank you. And then next thing you know, we're online buds and I'm getting early versions of In the Lives of Puppets, which Dang, so good. What a really just a magical book.
That's so weird that you would mention him. I just talked to him.
About the for that book.
Uh, just yeah. I mean, we talked about the book, and we talked about all kinds of stuff.
Wow! Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, have you read that one? Or which ones have you read?
I read the House in the Cerulean Sea. Um, and that,
I see that all over the place. Maybe that should be the next one that I read. Yeah, and then sitting on the then stand that everything Barnes and Noble trots into.
yeah,
I should pick that one up.
yeah. I'm telling you, I was surprised that I liked it so much, and it was just such a heartwarming, endearing novel. Really was.
Yes, yeah, that's a good yes. And so for Chuck, because like I said, I horror, romance, and erotica. I mean, fantasy. I can enjoy sci-fi fantasy, but it's not really not entirely my wheelhouse.
Uh huh.
And so I wasn't sure how I would feel about them in the Lives of Puppets because I knew going in nothing very scary in a horror way is going to happen.
Hmm.
But dang, so vibrant characters. I think the way that he just writes characters and can weave humor into things,
Yeah.
so kind of hard. I would say he makes it difficult to not enjoy his writing because it's so fun. It's a really enjoyable.
Yeah. His characters are just really solid people. You know.
Yeah, yes, and yeah, what a treat! Yeah, you go on this journey and you think, "Wow, I'm so glad to be surrounded by these buds for a little while every time I pick up this book." So
Yeah.
that's great.
All right. So Chuck.
I hope he hears this now.
All
I
right.
hope he hears this
All
so he
right.
can say
I'll
yes,
I'll tag him.
yes.
So, Chuck, this is going to be a tough question.
Sure.
All right. So, tell us something about yourself that no one else knows.
Oh, dang. Dang, this is a very interesting one because so much of my way is hidden. Um,
Ah.
I would say generally my answer for this one is that I've been trying around online for a very long time with different versions of different stories about my way. I got to hide my way, got to protect my privacy. And that because I present myself in such a unique way, everyone's always guessing who is Chuck really behind the mask, and all kinds of different guesses. But I think probably maybe the most interesting reveal is that I am pretty much exactly, well, not exactly, but I am very close to who I say I am. Most buds think that I'm playing a character or some other way, and I am really not. The big reveal, I think, is just that I'm a real buckaroo, and this is pretty much just my real thoughts and feelings about things. So that's my big reveal: is that
Well,
I'm actually a real.
what you see is what you get.
Yes,
So,
yes. For the most part, see a dang bag, pink bag that says "Love is real" on it. But yes, as far as my beliefs and my thoughts and my feelings,
hmm,
yes, this is just that's just me.
do you always wear a mask?
Well. I mean, not when I'm being taking a bath or going through airport
Yeah, I don't
security.
think they would like that.
No. But when I appear in any public way, yes, I am always wearing a mask. I think here's something that a lot of buds might not know. I think buckaroos assume that my mask is just in a public way. That if I'm giving a talk at Comic Con or something like that, of course I'm covering up to hide my identity. Um, I have any meeting I have ever had, whether it is Night Vale podcast or Night Fire Publishing. I still wear this mask. My dang lawyer has not seen Chuck without a mask.
Wow.
I go into the office buildings of these companies still with the mask. Hell, if anyone's ever trying to find out and they say, "Oh, I know Chuck's agent. We're gonna go ask, hey, what's Chuck really like behind the mask?" They're gonna have to tell you, I don't know. We have sat in the dang boardroom or at a dang barbecue out in the backyard and only masks. So I think buds would be surprised to know that the mask is always on.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yep. Yep. So, all right, Chuck, do you have any parting words for our listeners today?
Oh wow! I will just say that every chance a listener listening to this is probably interested in writing and creativity, and so I will say I'm in this position where what I'm creating is kind of obvious. These books, these moments, but we are all creating things with every choice that we make, every second of every day. And that is a huge amount of power that you have. Every event from the beginning of this timeline has stacked up in such an infinitely impossible way that it has led to you existing right now. And that is incredibly unique and powerful and special. And there is nobody as good at being you right now in this moment as you are. So use that power because it is in your hands to create, when the timeline goes forward, a more beautiful, special place. Wield it to prove love. And whether you are choosing to walk down the right path or the left path on your afternoon walk through the park, or choosing what color to paint your painting, use the fuel of love, and I think that you have no idea how much you can accomplish just by being you and harnessing your unique way for love.
I love that, Chuck. I love that. That was great. As a great way to end.